What we want to talk about today is the social contract between the employer and the employee, and how much that's really changed over time. Really, the last 30 years has been a transformation. So depending on how old you are, you know this already. But if you're younger, maybe this is news to you. But it used to be that people would go to work for a company for 30 years. And there was almost a social contract between the employer and the employee. And you took a job and you were set, right? They were going to take you. You had security. They were going to keep you for a long time. A lot of times there was going to be a pension at the end for you. So all of these things created just a totally different dynamic and world and lifestyle of how you approached your job. And that has really transformed over the last 30 years. And there's lots of reasons for that. And frankly, that's for another episode. And there's more smarter people that can explain that to you, whether it's globalization or just all these sorts of things. But for you, what you care about now is the social contract with your employer or being the employee of a company is really gone. You're almost certainly not going to work for one company for 30 years. You're probably not even going to work there for 10 years. And there's certainly not going to be a pension at the end of the rainbow for you. And so what does that mean? More than anything, you are on your own. And if that hasn't sunk in for you, and by the way, that hasn't sunk in for most people. But if that hasn't sunk in for you, you need to act accordingly and you need to prepare accordingly. And so the first thing to do is to understand that, to understand the environment that you're operating in. So I'm not the first or only person to talk about this. In fact, I would say I'm the last person that you should listen to. I'm merely taking things that are well established, and there's tons of smarter people than me talking about this concept. The one that I have learned the most from is Reid Hoffman, who was the founder of LinkedIn. I think he's fully exited now. He sold out. He's a billionaire. But he's actually written a book on this, and he's produced content, written articles, and he's really, in my opinion, the clearest voice. So if you're looking for some additional information on that, that's a shortcut of somebody who's a lot smarter than me to go listen to. But if you can just kind of buy into this concept and you can just kind of believe where I'm headed for a moment, the question really becomes, what does that mean for you and what do you need to do, right? So the first thing is as I said, to understand the situation, right? That you're on your own and you need to start to prepare and act accordingly. The next thing to do is to start to act like a business entity. And I say this to people a lot, and it seems to shock them, but then to really resonate with them. And that is, you are a business, whether you realize it or not. Even if you're an employee right now at a big company and you've been there for 10 years, I promise you that you are a business entity, and you need to think of yourself that way. You need to develop your skills. You need to be prepared. You either need to grow at that company or admit to yourself you're going to just stay at that level, or you need to exit and go somewhere else and manage your career like a business. But just that mindset of thinking about yourself as a business entity first, that's really the biggest hurdle and the biggest value. So if you can make that mindset shift, then you can really start to proceed forward. So if you're a business and you're going to run your career like a business, there's money coming in, there's money going out. What do you need to do? You need to build the skills to be able to market and sell and make sure your business is always able to create revenue. You need to have a network to where you can sell your skills. Maybe you're selling it directly to clients. Maybe you're selling it directly to employers. Maybe you have a network of consulting firms or staffing firms that can put you on projects. But this is inherently what people are doing when they want to network, right? They want to be able to have this group of people that can keep them billable, revenue generating for the business of them, right? You Incorporated. So if you're understanding this mindset, you're building the skills, then it starts to come down to managing yourself as a business. This is a bit advanced, right? Most people make money, and as they make more money, they raise their cost of living, which is their expenses. But if you can start to think about yourself as a business and you start to make more money as a consultant or whatever, and you start to leave that extra profit and reinvest that profit for more growth, whether it's building skills for yourself so that you can increase your revenue on maybe higher bill rates and those sorts of things. Maybe you invest into a different business that creates more cash flow in a passive way. Those are all things that we get into in much greater depth here. But the mindset is really what we're trying to cover on this episode. And if you can start to think of yourself as a business entity with the revenue coming in, you don't want to add a bunch of bloat and overhead to your business. That could be new fancy cars. Get yourself a car. Get yourself the car you want to get. Get yourself the house you want to get. But don't have the mindset of most people, and frankly, most Americans seem to be the worst at this, is you raise your revenue and your income and you raise your standard of living. Just continually like a one-to-one thing. Create more revenue, invest that revenue for more cash flow and revenue into your business. And that mindset is going to just transform everything that you do. And that's really, if you really want to understand what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to educate people, make it easy for them, give them the ideas, give them the tools, give them the mindset to go forth and do those sorts of things. So as you're making your way around the site, if you have questions, if you have feedback, please give it to us. But more than anything, what we're trying to do here is make that mindset shift for you and then make it easy with all the tools to move forward and kind of thrive in running the business of you. So hopefully this concept helped. Please leave your feedback, send us your feedback, and if it didn't help, we'll continue to adapt the way that we're saying it. But this is a key concept for you to get, for you to be able to grow and move forward.